welcome to today's class, which is a Garuda stroke fascial flow. And we're going to start with our hands today. It's a little bit cold here today, so I was just warming up my hands by taking a nice rubbing of them quickly together, and then rubbing the backs of the hands together. Rubbing the back of the hand with one palm, which feels quite nice. Just gets everything a little bit tingly, sort of doing one hand more than the other, as if you're putting some hand cream on. And the first thing we're going to do is Garuda, I'm going to call it making buds. I'm not actually quite sure what James de Silva calls it, but I'm going to come closer to the camera for this one. So we're going to spread our fingers and thumbs wide apart, and then we're going to bend little finger in, ring finger, middle finger, forefinger in, but we're creasing from this main knuckle. We're not curling the fingers round, if that makes sense. So little finger, next finger. We're keeping the fingers quite straight, in fact. And then you bring the thumbs in as well, and you sort of make this like Italian chef. Mwah! It's amazing. And I'm actually pushing my fingertips against my thumbs to make this little bud, and then I'm just going to keep that bud and circle both directions at the wrist, standing nice and tall, feeling like I'm squeezing my legs together a little bit, just getting everything nice and warm. Changing directions, and then I'm going to unravel sort of in the opposite way, and just pin the wrist back a little bit, if you like. And let's go again. So little finger, ring finger, middle finger, forefinger into make the buds with the pushing onto the thumbs, and then let's bring our hands together. The backs of the hands together in the centre. So I'm having my legs together now, squeezing the legs together, thinking about drawing the hands up our central line, our midline, taking a midline squeeze with the legs. Just as my hands get past my face, I'm going to extend my fingers out, but I'm trying to keep my little fingers together, just peeking out either side. I'm going to bend my knees a little bit, otherwise I'm going to go out camera shot. I'm taking my arms all the way up to the top, trying to keep them together, and then I'm opening out, flexing the hands as I draw down. Going again, curling finger by finger round from that main knuckle. And when you bring the thumbs in, there's quite a nice stretch at the backs of the wrists, backs of the hands together, let the fingers relax, but try and keep the backs of the hands together. I'm going to bend down again, reaching all the way up, and this is quite tough, quite strong. Turn those palms, flex the hands, draw the shoulders down in your back, and then bring them down. Let's take one more of those. Backs of the hands together. Taking a big breath in here, and then when you flex the hands and draw down, breathe out, feel like you're growing taller, feel those ribs connecting down. Perfect. Let's take our prayer arms. So let's take the arms, again, rotating out and little fingers on top here. So I feel like my thumbs are rotating backwards. Taking the arms up to the top, bringing the hands together, palms are together, and then we're drawing down that straight central line in the middle. So keeping the feet together. I'm going to try and back up against my wall a little bit. All the way up to the top. Have a sense of, as the arms are coming down, relax the elbows. Have a sense of lifting up through the centre. Great, we're going to do 3 or 4 more of those, and we're going to take a roll down, a little bit more of a roll down each time. So this first time, I'm going to turn sideways actually, to start with. This first time, as my hands go past my nose, as my fingertips go past my nose, I'm just going to take the very first part of a roll down. And then let the hands extend, turn the palms up, lift the head as you bring the arms up at the side, keeping those legs squeezing together. So a little bit harder on the balance when we come down to our full roll down. Relaxing the elbows, this time go a little bit further. Chin onto the chest. Allow the shoulders to relax and then turning the palms up as you lift the head all the way up to the top. Try and get little fingers together at the top. Everything's a little bit lifted and up, shoulders are up around the ears, ribs are flaring when the arms are up, and then it all draws down and lengthens. So this time, I'm going to let my upper body hang a little bit more, rounding over. My hands are sort of level with my knees, and then going again. Oh, just about got enough room. Up to the top, drawing down. So head goes onto the chest, shoulders round forwards, arms relax. This time I'm going to soften my knees and roll all the way down. And I'm just going to open up my toes and then my heels. So feet are pretty much hip width apart. When you're down there this time, nod the head, shake the head, wiggle the shoulders around, transfer the weight from side to side. We're still warming up, just checking out how is that body today, how is that spine. And then roll up, take a strong pelvic tilt, unravel as the head lifts. Let's do one more of those, all the way up to the top. Think little fingers together, then bring those palms together. Lift the spine as you lower the arms, follow the hands with the head. Chin onto the chest, let the arms hang. Draw the belly button in, unraveling your spine all the way. This time maybe just soften the knees, straighten the legs. Little bit of a stretch on the hamstrings, but be really nice and gentle. If that feels horribly uncomfortable, then just don't do it. Rolling back up, strongly activating lower abdominal wall, drawing in, pushing the pubic bone forwards, coming up to the top of this. We're focusing so much on flow today that I'm just letting my hair flow everywhere as well. Okay, we're going to bring feet to shoulder width apart, or just wherever's comfortable, slightly inside shoulder width apart. Bring the hands together. Now carve a figure of 8 in front of your body. So it's a nice rounded, fat figure of 8, a plump figure of 8, shall we say. And the top circle is sort of my head and my shoulders. The bottom circle is my hips and torso. Change direction if you haven't already. And all I want you to do really is keep your hands together, bend your knees, have a little bit of movement from side to side, but draw this figure of 8 in front of you. Changing direction always feels a little bit weird, as you know. Everything we're doing today is just about getting to the edges, getting into the corners, reaching those parts that we don't normally get to stretch and move about in everyday movements for sure. And sometimes when we're doing a little bit more of a static Pilates, fixed Pilates class. Great. So imagine that figure of 8. Keep that in your mind for a moment, and then let's just take a side bend movement. So we're going to bring the hands, keep the hands together, take the hands to the side of the leg, as we've been doing recently in our side bends, and reach out sideways, go up and over to the other side, and then reach out. So now I'm drawing a great big semicircle. Be nice and relaxed, be gentle. These are quite big movements to start with. So keep your breathing relaxed. Allow the body to flow. Try and take those arms above your head. Look into the arms. Great. Little bend of the knees each side. Perfect. Have a look at this next one. I knew this was going to happen. Wardrobe malfunction already. We're going to add some rotation to this. So this is classic Garuda. We're going to have the feet a little bit narrower. Watch me a moment, especially if you haven't done this one before. Knees are over the toes, I'm bending the knees. I'm keeping my arms together and I'm going to take my hand and my arm, the underneath arm if you like, is pressing against the middle of my thigh. The middle of this forearm is pressing against the middle of the thigh. And the movement for our rotation is just to open up. And I'm just going to take this quite gently. Opening up the top arm, following that movement with my head. Let's do 3 of those and then reach across and go up onto the other side. So join me on the other side. Find this position. Arms, especially the underneath arm, is staying nice and straight. And then we're lifting up. We're rotating thoracic spine, just gently. And then reaching up and over. So I'm going to do one more because you were meant to be watching that first one. 3 times and then up and over. So the idea is the legs are bent, legs and hips stay fairly still. We rotate that torso. Let's take our big figure of 8, a nice rounded figure of 8. We're going to split that in half down the middle. Take your arms up to the top. We're going to go over to one side. So just mirror me. We're cutting it's been cut in half, your figure of 8. So from the top to the side, across the middle, round, and then just naturally flow to that same side. And then opening top arm up and bringing the hands together and then reaching up to the top. Naturally we're going to go straight into the other side. Across through the middle of your figure of 8 to the other thigh. Lifting the arm up, rotating those shoulders, bringing the hands back together, reaching out sideways. Let's go 2 more. So you're drawing like a big figure of S, capital S. Opening up, keep breathing, twirling, feeling all that lovely stretching going on in the torso. Try not to get stuck. And then drawing down and adjusting the clothing. Wonderful. So that's our figure of 8 with our rotation. Let's place one hand at the back of the head and one hand in the small of your back. I'm going to go this way to start with. Again, feet are quite narrow, hip width apart. We want to take that top elbow, the top hand, the hands at the back of the head, take that elbow out to the side. In fact, let's just do this a moment. So this is our initial movement, side to side with the rib cage, and then pop those hands back where they were. So ribs out to the side, and then think of this top elbow as going up and over, all the way to the side. Then you're going to extend the arms out, one up, one down, and come back into the center, swapping those arms over. Ribs out to the side, lifting up and over. This is my tighter side for this one. One arm up, one arm down, really relax the head, sweep the arms round to go again. I'm going to face you this way, don't worry if you're going opposite. Ribs over to the side. So this for me is quite comfortable. I imagine I'm taking that elbow as far to the side as I can, and then it's drawing a curve up towards the ceiling, not a straight line, and then I'm lengthening and then coming up to the centre, swapping the arms over. Ribs out to the side. This bit's okay. This next bit, trying to get that up and over is quite strong. One arm up, one arm down. Let's do one more each side. Ribs, let's flow a little bit more. If this feels too uncomfortable for you, and it is quite uncomfortable on my tighter shoulder when that side's on the lower, in my lower back, then just stick with this one. Stick with the earlier switching from side to side. Absolutely fine, no problem at all. Brilliant. We are going to warm up the spine as we normally do. I'm going to take my feet as wide as the yoga mat. A couple of ways. In fact, we've already done a roll down, so let's start straight away with looking up, sticking the bottom out, finding your sumo squat position, unraveling the spine by taking the head forwards, relax the head down, round the back, and then rolling up. So this is our chest and back, lift. Lifting, arching forward, supporting the weight through the hands, and then pushing a little bit. I'm not pushing loads, but I'm just bracing a little bit against my legs. Let's go the other way. Chin onto the chest, rounding all the way down, and then arch the back to come up. So this time the head is leading. Excuse me. All the way down and round, arching the back to come up, and again. And I'm really making this quite big. It doesn't have to be this big. It could just be a little bit more subtle, but it's that flowing movement through the spine which we're after. Wonderful. Looking at our feet, let's get these feet moving, feet and ankles. I'm just going through the motions of a sort of a slow pony trot. I don't want to be too restricted with it. We might break it down in a moment. But just feel like you're sort of doing a very, almost like a slow motion jogging action. I'm lowering my heel, bending the knees, and then I'm popping the toes. We've broken this down before, but I'm trying to just make it flow through a little bit. If you can see yourself in a monitor, we're looking for the knees to be going over the toes. So let's break this down a little bit more. So have a little bit of support if you need to. Rising up onto the balls of the feet, lower one heel, bend the knee, pop the toes. Put that heel, put that toe, toes of that foot down again, rise up, straight legs. Lower with straight leg, bend that knee, pop the toes. Push down, 2 straight legs, lower, bend the knee, pop the toes. That's the broken down version of it. I've rushed through it a little bit. I just want it to be quite natural and flowing. Having said that, it's a good idea to practice those components separately until you feel really comfortable with them. On the same style of movement, let's take some Flintstone Walks. I feel like we haven't done these for ages. So the Flintstone Walk, same sort of thing. You're peeling your heel off. Your head is staying at the same height. You have to put the next foot down really nice and close. What I see quite a lot of in my classes, when people have almost got this, is they do this lovely heel roll through, and then they don't pick that heel up, and then they go on to the next one. This is called cheating, and is relatively easy. It's not that easy actually, especially if you go on a sort of a tightrope, so quite tough on the balance. But the bit they're missing is this heel lift before you put the next foot down. So it's essentially a single leg calf raise heel lift, and you could maybe do, as you can see I'm really enjoying doing this, going up and down, maybe do some sea anemones at the same time. Should feel quite nice. And then something that came out of the fascial exercises was about keeping our Achilles nice and mobile, healthy, hydrated, rather than being a little bit stiff. So something like a weighted skip. Hopefully we've warmed everything up a little bit. Let's start here actually. Let's start with the feet quite close together. Take a little double bounce. This is from the Bones for Life. So I'm slightly lifting my heels off. I'm creating quite a nice impact into the floor on the second one. The first one isn't particularly high, and the first one isn't important. The first one's almost the prep for the second one to be nice and heavy. And it's not about rising up as high as you can, it's that weight. You should feel like a bit of a jolt through the body. And then if you can, take that into a low impact slightly odd version of skipping, but yeah, it is skipping, but it's skipping without the impact. I can go backwards as well, but that's perhaps I'm just showing off there. Going forwards, but it's that bounce, that bounce, that bounce, that compression, that contact with the floor that's waking everything up. And then, of course, if you wanted to, you have your full skipping. Everyone should do more skipping. Just imagine, rather than the joy of skipping, it's amazing. I'm not a big fan of running, but I love to skip. I'd rather skip everywhere than walk. It just feels so great, and you get further, and yeah. So yeah, take up skipping if you can. Hopefully I've inspired you to have a little go there. Let's do some stretches. So feet nice and wide, in steps parallel. In fact, not in steps parallel, sorry. Let's turn the toes out slightly to the corner. Let's take some deep squats. Reaching up, taking the elbows to the knees. If you're not quite warm enough to cope with that just yet, then maybe just keep the elbows up and keep the elbows away from your knees. You don't have to go all the way down, but aim for that, because what it does is it keeps your chest up. So those knees stay above or behind your ankles. It's not the end of the world if your knees always come forwards, but we want to hinge at the hip. We want to be down here. And then staying down if you can. Bringing the hands out in front, maybe having a little bit of movement from side to side. If that's too much for you today, then just go back to doing some plain ones up and down. I'm going to take my hands down to the floor to help facilitate that movement from side to side. And then I'm going to take my feet even wider, toes going to the corners of the mat. And now we're swapping from side to side. So there are Cossack lunges. I don't generally just call it side to side actually, but side to side lunges. Remember, the hips are meant to stay on the same plane. Sometimes we do it slightly differently, and then really straighten this leg. So we're stretching primarily inside thighs, adductors, the ankles, feet are all getting a bit of a workout. If you want to apply a little bit more pressure through everything, then take your hands away from the floor. Brilliant. We're going to turn to the side of the room, so short end of your mat for some lizard. Again, nice big wide lunge. Make sure this knee is above the ankle, the opposite hand goes down to the floor, and you're reaching the same arm forwards, you're reaching it up, you're rotating the spine, you're pushing back a little bit, and then you're threading the needle through. Follow that with your head, so that you're turning the torso all the way through. I'm just going to add to this one. I'm going to put that back knee down. I'm going to come up into a 90-90 position. I'm going to tuck the pelvis under and just take some little pulses here. Hip flexors, for me, this is an area of tightness. If you don't really feel this one, maybe you don't need to do it. But I just noticed in the last class I taught that I was tight here, and I hadn't really stretched that out. So now is the perfect time to move on to that. So remember, we're tucking the pelvis under, we're activating the buttock on that side, trying to really stretch out here. You don't have to go all the way forwards, just stay tucked under in that 90-90 position. Brilliant. And then hand down, curl the toes under on the back foot, move around to the other side by just adjusting everything. So you probably need to adjust to get to hip width apart with your feet, although they will be in the right position on the mat front to back. Opposite hand is down, back leg is nice and straight, then we're reaching forwards, we're lifting up and tucking in, breathing. Try and do all of these wonderful stretches. Remember, this is one of the daily mobility ones, because it's using so many different areas in your body. Do it consciously. Breathe, try and relax into it. Notice how that body is feeling today. Then into our 90-90. Tuck the pelvis under. So this is me in neutral, then I'm tucking the pelvis under. You might not be able to see much difference. I've activated this buttock and I'm just pulsing forwards a little bit. I'm regretting my choice of clothing. But I'll be darned if I'm starting filming again. So holding it, maybe about 10 little pulses, holding it, breath, breathing, focus on a nice deep breath, opening out the front of that hip. If you're not feeling it there, move the foot around at the back. Try and just see how that feels. You might find it in a different place, different position with that back knee and foot. Ooh, and coming up out of that. Great, we're coming up to stand. To finish off with our standing work, we're stepping back into the warrior. So let's come on to hands at the front, bring both feet together. Let's just straighten those legs one more time for a hamstring stretch. It's rude not to. Soften the knees, roll up through the spine. Great job. Have a little look at this next one. Just a balance and good awareness exercise. So I'm going to face the short end of my mat. I'm going to bring my arms out in front of me. I'm going to sweep the camera arm back and open up my shoulders. I started with my palms down. As I sweep that arm back, I'm going to end up with my thumb up. But also as I sweep that arm back, I'm going to take the same side leg back. And yes, I've started with my thumb up, but I'm actually going to put both palms down. So I'm now in a lovely warrior. Spine is upright. This front knee is over the toes, underneath my arm. My shoulders have opened up completely. My hips have opened up completely. My head is looking forwards. My back foot is perpendicular to the front foot. Right angles there. And that heel is pretty much, it would be, so if you're doing a true warrior, you'd have that heel in the middle of the back instep, the instep of the back foot. But we're going to turn from here. We're going to square everything up to the front of the mat. So turning that back leg in, which brings the hips round, which squares up my shoulders, bringing the arm up and under. Back heel is off the floor. My spine is still in the middle. My weight is in the middle. Here's an extra challenge. Pitch the weight forwards onto that front leg. Hold the arms up above your head. You could either have toes pointed, foot pointed and toes, big toe touching the knee of the standing leg, or if you fancy being a bit more yoga-y today, you could turn that knee out in the hip socket and press the sole of your foot into your standing thigh for the tree. Let's try that all on the other side, placing the leg down and the arms are out in front of you. So sweeping the leg and the arm back. Come into that nice wide long lunge, which is the warrior. Open up your shoulders, open up your hips. Get the head nice and straight, spine is upright. Then we're rolling that back foot in. I have to take my back leg out slightly to the side, which is why I'm wobbling a little bit. Bend the knees, bend both knees equally, chest is still upright, palms are down. Then we're pitching all the way forwards into your balance. I'm holding on to my hands, clasping my hands together. You could bring your hands into a prayer position if you wanted to. Toes touching. I'm going to hold it there for a moment. Or turn that leg out. When you turn the leg out, those hips shouldn't follow. Everything is really nice and square. Ooh, let's do 4 of those, one after each other. So we've done it on both sides. Flowing and trying to just get that adjustment and have full control of your body. So sweeping the arm and the leg back, open up the shoulders, extend your fingertips away from each other. Turn that back leg in. I have to adjust very slightly here. If you're on a tightrope, it will be too difficult to balance. Arms are down, hips and shoulders are really square, all the way forwards. I'm going to start with that leg parallel, shoulders down, and then I'm going to challenge myself by opening up that knee, keeping that standing leg side hip really square. Foot down, arms down, straight away onto the other side, opening everything up. Can you come a little bit deeper into that lunge? Palms are down, shoulders and hips really open. Turn the back foot in, Weight equal through the middle of both knees. So you don't have to be really bent with the knees, but just make sure you're equally bent with the knees. Transfer all the weight forwards without putting that foot down if you can. And then challenge yourself even further by opening that leg out. Woo, shoulders are down, one more each side. Stepping all the way back. Let's go a little bit more flowy this time. Curve around, square to the front, pitching all the way forwards, holding it there, opening out that knee, shoulders are down, but my arms are reaching up, my spine is long, feeling strong, first rhyme of class, and last one, all the way back, opening everything out, coming into the middle. I have to just bring my weight back a little bit, because I guess because I've bent that back leg in and brought it in a little bit closer, all the way forwards. I'm clasping onto my hands, which helps me to draw the shoulders down. Opening up that hip, independently of the other one. Woo. Okay, we're going to take a roll down into the plank next. Standing at the back end of your mat with your feet hip width apart today, let's take a nice roll down. Chin to the chest, round those shoulders, keep the pelvis in neutral for as long as possible. Those arms should be hanging away from the body. Soft knees, hang from your waist. Nod the head, shake the head a moment, and then walking out. Nice flat hands, take big long strides with your hands, come into the plank. Holding that there. From there, we're going to go straight into this today because we want to make it a flowing class. From there, so feet are hip width apart, I'm going to draw the same side knee in to its arm, alternating sides for 4, 3, and 4, and then lower both knees with control. Just take a quick hips back on the heels, stretch the hands, roll the hands around, sway from side to side. Let's do the same thing, but this time twisting opposite knee to its opposite arm, curling those toes under, pushing out into the plank. And now I'm taking the back leg, I'm turning my hips, squeezing that knee in, trying to keep my upper body nice and strong and square. Just 4 of those, lower the knees, come back. Woo. Our next movement is to stack the hips. So taking your camera leg back, I've stayed very sideways on today. Let's bring our feet and knees together just so we've got a narrower base to work from. Spreading fingers and thumbs, head nicely in the middle. We're going to take that camera leg all the way back and then lifting it up in a beautiful straight line so that it's parallel to the floor. Point that foot. You're going to stack your hips. Push the underneath inside thigh towards the centre. Your shoulders will want to twist, but try and keep them there. Try and keep the foot where it is. So working hard on that underneath side buttocks, getting this lovely rotation, this spiral around your torso. Hold it up there with the hips stacked, one on top of the other. Flex that foot that's in the air, lower it towards the floor, and as you do you'll feel the need to unweight the camera hand, the same side hand. Push the underneath shoulder towards the centre, touch that shoulder with your hand, wipe your hand across your chest and take the arm up to the ceiling. Here's our beautiful straight line. Relax both feet, especially the foot that's on the straight leg. And then stretch into and look into the palm of that hand as you reach across. Push those side ribs underneath that top armpit. Push those side ribs up to the ceiling. and then continue to stretch forwards. Feel this wonderful rotation. I've got my fingertips touching the floor. I'm going to roll through my hand. My hands have ended up a little bit staggered, but that's fine. And then allow the rest of the body to just unravel. And that knee just crosses over a little bit. Feels really nice. Okay, on to the other side. Feet and knees are together. We're extending the leg out. Nothing has changed in that body. Think about hips and shoulders. We're lifting the leg. Hips and shoulders are both, all four corners of your tissue box are parallel to the floor. Keep the legs still, keep the foot extended. Lift that hip so that your hips are now stacked and your shoulders want to join in. Push that underneath, push your inside thigh towards your centre. That is what will make your hips become stacked, one on top of the other. Hold it up there on that fourth one. Flex the foot, lower that leg to the floor. As you lower the leg to the floor, the same side hand will want to come off. Push the underneath shoulder into the centre again. Touch that hand to it, wipe it across, reach up to the ceiling. Hold this a moment. So now hips and shoulders are stacked. My back leg is nice and straight and my foot is relaxed. My foot is flat on the floor. Then as I reach that arm across, I feel this wonderful stretch in my side seam. I'm looking into the palm of my hand, pushing my ribs up towards the ceiling. It absolutely feels amazing. And then I'm going to continue to reach as far away from me as I can. This side's gone even further. Touching my fingertips to the floor first, rolling through to the knuckles, to the heel of the palm. My hands are staggered. That's absolutely fine. And then I'm going to allow the rest of everything to unravel. That should feel great. Did for me anyway. It's all about me. Okay, wonderful. We are coming into a seated C-curve balance. I'm just going to go at a little bit more of an angle. So seated right up on those sit bones, feet and knees hip width apart, hands are underneath the backs of your legs. But actually before we do that, let me show you some arms that I'd like you to incorporate as a bit of a challenge. We're going to bring the arms out in front to start with. Our first movement, so this actually is quite a good exercise just to be sitting up. In fact, let's go cross-legged, but if you can cross-legged, that's great. Cross-legged, we have one easy way and one not so easy way. Do you go into your natural side first and then swap it over non-natural side? Ideally you're still sitting up on your sit bones. If you're not, you could be having a long frog, or you could sit on a block or something low. But if you are cross-legged, make sure it's your unnatural side. Okay, spine in neutral, right up on the sit bones. Arms are out in front. We're going to, the first arm movement, do 4 movements, is just arms straight up to the ceiling and lowering. Arms up to the ceiling and lowering. We're working the muscles around the shoulder blades at the back. We're working all the muscles in the spine just to sit upright here. It's tough. We're only going to do 2 of each when we're actually doing it. We're then going to turn the palms to face each other and we're opening arms out to the side. I'm grimacing a little bit. Even here, I can feel, so that great big long lever of the arms, I can feel all the muscles around my shoulder blades working quite hard. 4 of these. I can feel my hip flexors gripping a little bit. Back to palms down. We're going to pin the elbows back and make a capital E shape and then bring them forwards. Pin the elbows back, make a capital E. Think about the muscles around your shoulder blades, making that capital E. The last one, turn your palms up, keep your elbows absolutely still. The lower arm just bends in. It's like a tricep prayer curl, I think it's called. Imagine you've got some weights on your hands, but the elbows stay still. And up is the key to this. Whoo, and one more. Brilliant. Okay, we're going to add that on to a C-curve seated balance. So feet and knees are hip width apart. sitting up really nice and tall. I like to have a little rock from side to side. Might be a bit uncomfortable. Some people really struggle with this just because of the shape of their pelvis, their sit bones. It's all a little bit uncomfortable. If that's you, then maybe don't go too far and don't do too much in and out of it. But remember, we're scooping that tummy. That's what creates the C curve. Come forwards, lift up out of it. And then let's do 2 more of those, staying there on that third one. I'm really conscious of relaxing in my hip flexors when I take this tuck under. Don't let it become too grippy there if you can. So I'm back on my sacrum. I feel quite comfortable. My spine is in a shallow C curve. It's not a great big C curve. It's a subtle one. Bring the feet and knees together if you can and be on your tippy toes. So we're balancing here. We're going to just hold this position and try and repeat those arms. So hands are out in front, arms are out in front, palms are down. This will be significantly harder from this position. Lifting those arms up, hardly went anywhere compared to the last one. Just 2. Turn the palms to face, opening out. I would say I'm going 3/4 of the distance that I did before, but it's very challenging. Palms are down. Elbows, I'm aiming for that capital E, but it's more of a, it's like a, not quite how to describe that. Last one, turn the palms up, keep those elbows up, only move that lower arm. And have a little relax and a little stretch out. As this is our only abdominals of the day, we're going to do that one more time. You'll be glad to know. With a little extra bonus in. Okay, so feet and knees are together. Let's go straight into it. Find that C curve, find your balance. Arms are down, palms are down, and then we're lifting the arms up, scooping with that tummy, trying to stay really strong in your center. Turn your palms to face each other, opening out to the side. Let's go one of each of those. One up, one out to the side. One up, one out to the side. 2 more. One up, one out to the side. A little extra bonus I added in for your pleasure. Elbows coming back. I want to extend my legs each time. That's not the thing. I did 3 of those. Turn the palms up, keep those elbows up and lifted, rounding, bending that upper arm in. 2, in fact, let's keep those arms out. Let's straighten the legs because we're already there. Look at that. Now if you can, just try and lift the chest a little bit. There's our teaser. Ooh. And I'm going to have a little collapse and a slump down. Brilliant. Our next one, I call these Gecko Press-Ups. 2 ways of doing them. It will stretch everything out here. It's a lovely Garuda move into the middle of your mat with your legs out straight in front of you. Keeping your legs together. We're rolling from side to side. And the idea here is that you put your hand level with your hips on the mat. You get a nice stretch in the underneath side of your ribs. Fingers are facing forwards, elbows going wherever is comfortable. Keep the legs glued together so that the whole pelvis goes with you. Lots of things going on here. Great, we're going to start to take the press up version. So I'm going to turn towards the back corner of my mat. I'm going to have my hands wide and my elbows are also going to be wide, which is why I call this Gecko Press-Ups. No cheating and putting that back elbow on the floor. And then you're pushing up through your arms. So a nice upper body workout, getting everything involved. Our whole body really, keeping the legs together. Bring your pelvis round so that your hips just brush the floor. So you're pretty much lying on your tummy. Your air kissing the floor as well. And then let's start to add bending the top knee in to reach your elbow. And for this is the reason I call it the Gecko Press-Ups. Feel free to have a little twist on the side of your body. twist towards that side, if that's what helps you do it. Otherwise, you could go flat and you could just open out that leg. There's the movement that we did standing, our yoga tree pose. Now this version, if you're still going, I'm using my arms and my upper body to push up, and I'm extending my leg and getting my legs together to come up. Now I'd like to try a slightly different variety of this. It just feels different, and especially as you come up and out of it. So you're going to go over into the same position. You're going to bring that knee in. You could keep this knee on the floor this time if you wanted to. And then from here, stretch this foot. So I'm waving this foot in the air. This is the leg that I'm thinking about. I'm staying down with my upper body. I'm going to take that foot across to the other corner. And it's like someone's got hold of this foot and they're pulling me out of the quicksand. And so there's this whole spiral action. And then when I come up, my legs are apart. So I'm going to bring them back together again. Rolling over to the other side. Drawing that knee in. Keep the foot on the floor as much as possible. And rather than me lifting my upper back, I'm going to let that leg extend, 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 extend. And then you get this lovely rotation to come out of it. So it feels quite different. There. Reaching across, spiral, bring the legs together as you go over to the other side. You will probably find yourself, like I am, rolling away from your mat. Last one, here we go. Or maybe do a couple more of those ones if you enjoyed that. Good job, we are lying on our side, so we have the mats already in the perfect position. I'm going to go this side for a change. Keep that there. Okay, wonderful. Lying on your side in a beautiful straight line if you can. So hips stacked, shoulders stacked, waist lifted, this underneath side. I'm working quite hard to push down to connect in my torso. Hips are stacked. This arm, underneath arm is lengthening away. I'm just going to lift and lower the top leg on its own. Doesn't need to go very high. Really check that every time you lift the leg, you're not losing your waist. Keep the insteps nice and parallel. Now I'm lifting the leg just to the height of my top hip. Again, you'll probably want to go a little bit higher, but we want to lift the underneath leg up to join it. We're going to flex both feet, we're going to lower. Point the feet, lift the top leg. Lift the underneath leg up, get those insteps squeezing, watch that you haven't dropped that waist. Flex both feet and lower. Point, lift, together, flex and lower. Check the tension in the neck. Hopefully there isn't any. If there is, turn the head towards the mat and lower. Last one. Up, flex the feet and stay here. Really work hard on that underneath inside thigh to keep pushing up, keeping those legs up nice and high. Reach the arm overhead and bring it back. 3 of these. We're balancing. We're lifting that underneath side away. Great. We're going to place the hand on the floor in front of us. Lower the legs a little bit and just relax the feet. We're rolling onto our front. In a straight line, like a log. Roll on to your tummy. Hips and shoulders nice and square. Open up the legs a little bit. I've still got my underneath arm, which was straight. It's still straight. The other arm that was in front of the body is underneath my shoulder. My elbow is lifted up towards the ceiling. I'm going to open up my legs a little tiny bit, and I'm going to take a nice back extension. As I take this back extension, and believe me, I go higher here than I ever do in any other type of exercise. I'm drawing this straight arm in, keeping my shoulders really square, level with the short end of my mat. I'm pushing down this hand a little bit, but essentially I'm just assisting myself to do a nice back extension. I'm conscious of using the muscles in my back. It's just that the arms in this position seem to really help. I'm keeping the pubic bone pushing into the mat a little bit, belly button in nice and tight, 3 of those, extend away, bring your legs together, roll back onto your back, and woof, we are done. Great job. Twiddling round to the other side. You could roll away to face the other way if you wanted to, or you could continue watching me. So, beautiful straight line, waist lifted. I lift my t-shirt up. It's a shame you can maybe see a little bit of daylight underneath there, but that never goes down. I've got my outside of my shoulder blade, outside edge of the shoulder and my hip. That's it, in contact with the floor. Everything else is staying where it was. Lifting that top leg up. Checking with your spare hand that the waist doesn't dip. So 2 movements of your hip, potentially. One is that you'll lose your waist, so that top hip will drop in. The other one is as you lift the leg up, your hip will roll back. Try and not to have either of those going on. Holding that leg up, but not quite as high as it was when it was on its own, because we're joining in with the underneath leg. We want the underneath leg to lift up all the way to meet that top leg. Then we're flexing the feet and then we're lowering. Now it's much more challenging on that waist side that's in contact with the floor or not in contact with the floor, not to let that dip. Now that you're bringing the underneath leg up, try not to let it happen. Get your insteps together, flex the feet, lower with flexed feet. Check what's going on that underneath side. One more. Let's hold those legs up, keep the feet flexed. Work a little bit hard on that underneath leg, pushing the top leg up, and then we're waving the arm 3 times. Isolating that arm. Interesting, I've noticed my mat is rocking up a little bit because I'm pulling in so hard. I'm pushing into the floor with my shoulder. I've flattened it out in there. Great. Pointing those feet, lowering the legs a little bit, plopping that hand on the front on the floor, and then rolling as one unit onto your tummy. Open up the legs a little bit, just to hip width apart, keep them nice and parallel. So one hand is underneath your shoulder, the other arm is extended. Imagine that your shoulders, from shoulder to shoulder, your collarbone is really parallel to the top short end of your mat. That does not change, even though we're lifting the back into back extension. It's a little bit weird. You've sort of got to control this straight arm, sliding that arm in without putting too much pressure on it, and equally you're not putting loads of pressure on the other one because that will drop that shoulder down, or you'll come up lopsided. But weirdly, it just gives me a great sense of lift here. I don't quite know why. So it just feels very supported. 3 of those. When you bring your legs back together, push down the floor, roll back onto your side like a log, and then relax. Fantastic. Great. That is the end of class that I've got written down on my list. So what I'm going to do now is have a true, I feel like I'm warm, I feel like I'm mobile. I'm going to have a Garuda style roll around and just do some of the things that we sometimes do in Garuda. So let's take some spine circles, and anything else that comes to mind for your body, how you're feeling today, absolutely do that. So I've done some horizontal spine circles. I'm going to do some vertical spine circles. I'm going to curl my toes under. I'm pushing back into a deep squat. Not particularly Garuda, but yeah, a bit more on the ankles and the toes for me today. I'm going to come forwards again, back to all fours, curl my toes under. Ooh, pushing up into downward dog, Realising that my Achilles is still a little bit sore from last week. So taking that nice sweeping across rotation movement of the sexy bear. Or you can also walk the hands forwards. You can take it backwards. Oh, what else do I feel like doing? This is a very Garuda-y style one as well. Facing forwards, side sweeps. Up on your knees. Maybe going around a little bit more. Maybe keeping that foot on the floor and extending and trying to look up. Oh, there's one I haven't done before. Round, circling that arm around. Yeah, feels good. Rolling up through the spine. Oh, definitely a hair and clothing day today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you soon.